All right, now we're going to look for our rate of change, or usually it's called slope, in our graph. So when we look at a graph, we're looking for, again, our change in y divided by our change in x to be our slope. If we're looking for our change in y, notice that that is the difference in the vertical component of our graph. Here's our y-axis, so we want to see how those y's are changing. We're going to go from one point to another point, and we're going to see what our change in y is. So our change in y is this vertical change in our graph. And we go up 1, 2, 3 units. So our change in y is 3. And then our change in x, since our x is our horizontal axis, then we go over 1, 2 horizontally for our change in x. So our change in x is 2. We also call this our rise and our run. That's just something we've started calling it a long time ago. So in a slope, in a graph, we can also talk about the ratio of the rise to the run, but still it's the change in the vertical component divided by the change in the horizontal component. This graph has a slope of 3 halves. It's positive, it's going up. It goes up 3 units and over 2 units every time. If we were to find another point down here, say, and we go the opposite way, then our change in our y would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down, and our change in our x would be 1, 2, 3, 4 in the negative direction, and we would have the ratio -6 divided by -4, which also simplifies to +3 over 2. Shall we look at another one? Oh, good. This one has a negative slope. I know it's negative because it's going down. As our x's increase, our y's are decreasing, which tells us we have that negative relationship. So let's find our 2 points. Here's 2 points, and here's 2 points. I need to find where the line crosses right over those intersections so that we have nice integer coordinates to use. So looking at this point, if we were to travel down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we would see a change in 6, but we're going down, so that's a -6 for our change in y. And for our change in x, we would travel horizontally 1, 2, 3, and it's in the positive direction, so that's a +3. When we simplify this ratio, we end up with -2. So the sign of our slope is -2, and we have this downward sloping graph, so that makes sense. Our rise was -6 because we went down. Our run, +3, because we went in the positive direction to the right. Make sure your students get lots and lots of practice with different kinds of graphs so that they can see all the different ways graphs occur. And don't forget those lovely horizontal lines where the change in the y, the vertical rise, is 0, and then they have a slope of 0.